weeks in the news, people are more concerned than ever about privacy. Parents are rightfully concerned about data mined by schools and then used to track or profile their children. CSCOPE is a computer-based service capable of gathering personally identifiable information on Texas students. Contracted vendors are located outside the state of Texas. In Friday's Longview News Journal story, you were described as being puzzled over concerns of data mining. A recent amendment to the Federal Family Education Rights and Privacy Act indeed allows third parties to gain access to student data without parental consent. As our elected State Board of Education member, do you know for certain that there is absolutely no sharing of information about Texas public school students with third-party vendors or quasi-federal agencies through CSCOPE or other means? If that is the case, please cite upon what controlling legal authority or statute that you ensure us that Texas students are protected from such data sharing and profiling. And I would remind you here that if the federal government didn't know that it could get the data from Texas public schools, why would there be an exception to that law?
Yeah, thank you for the question. There's no way in the world I can guarantee anything in 1,000 school districts with hundreds of thousands of teachers and 5 million kids. To try to even do so is laughable. What I do know is the only people that have username and passwords in CSCOPE are teachers. Children are not given, students are not given electronic access to CSCOPE. If they are given electronic access to the lessons, that's done by the teacher or that district. CSCOPE contains zero student data. So this is yet another example of the misinformation designed to scare you and you about your kids in the public schools. It's just not true. So I don't know what the NSA is doing or not doing or what other vendors are doing, but
Mr. Ralph, I'm getting a couple of notes from people listening online. That some people are listening on there have a little trouble hearing us. You're a little closer.
Okay.
How's this? We'll do mic take eight here.
Let me say it again real, because this is an important one, because this is putting fear in the hearts of parents unnecessarily. CSCOPE only allows electronic access by teachers. Students do not have electronic access to CSCOPE. Any fears or accusations of data mining are false, and it's fear-mongering designed to scare parents. And that's one of the biggest misinformations that just popped up last week in the Longview paper. And they quoted Mason Moses from the CSCOPE Collaborative that said the same thing I'm saying. Students do not have electronic access to CSCOPE, period.
My question.
Sure.
So let me take you through this. First of all, students don't have to have access to CSCOPE for that data to be mined. Okay? It can come through the teacher's evaluation of the student and then the school district's overall profile of the student. So let me read this to you again. A recent amendment to the Federal Family Education Rights and Privacy Act allows third parties to gain access to student data without parental consent. Now, this has to do with the Recovery Act and the federal stimulus funds, which Texas took those funds. Okay? So I'm trying to get you all to focus on this. The federal government says we can access this data. And Texas took the federal funds, so that means the federal government must be expecting Texas public schools to share information with them. So I'm saying if it's not through CSCOPE, if it's through another means, you, Senator Patrick, as chairman of the Senate Education Committee, and you, Mr. Ratliff, as our representative on the State Board of Education, I as a taxpayer and a parent are asking you to assure us, and if you can't assure us, then that should be on your to-do list, both of you, to assure us that we are not having our children tracked. So please focus on, do you or do you not know whether that is true?
I'm going to have each of you respond to that briefly, but I would say, in fairness, he said that he can't do that. He did answer your question. He said that he can't do that. So Mr. Ratliff, go ahead and respond to that.
And I did say that CSCOPE, teachers take lessons off of CSCOPE and print them out and hand them to students. So unless there's a Xerox machine in the sky that I'm unaware of that takes those and mines that data, I can't tell you what the federal government does or does not do. My job on the State Board of Education is to pass standards and approve instructional materials. That's it, as it pertains to the classroom. I don't think Senator Patrick could guarantee you what the federal government's doing or not doing.
No, and I tried to, Joanne, I wasn't trying to avoid your question. What I was suggesting is that as of today, I'm not aware, and if there is something that we need to be aware of, we will learn it. But as of today, I'm not aware that there's data that they can mine. But what I also said was, I'm not going to turn a blind eye to it and say, you know what, this is just fine. You know, the federal government's never going to look into our child's records. I'm very concerned based on what we just learned in the last 60 days about what the federal government is doing. So I think we need to be sure that doesn't happen. But as of today, I don't believe it's happening as of today, but we should protect it so it never happens.